Humans cry for peace amongst all the chaos and terror. They wait for a Messiah to return or be resurrected when it is they whom can save themselves. It has always been so. Once their minds are no longer ruled by their own passions, desires, and other humans, they will possess the power to free and save themselves.
There's no set way for a child to become a healthy adult, but we can agree that there are certain pillars that help and establish strength and character. Such pillars as knowledge of self, leadership, service, celebration, prayer, and meditation. Knowledge of self is knowing where you stand between a person, place, or thing. It also has to do with culture, because culture is about a group of people who share the same values, beliefs, spiritual systems, and symbols which identify them. Friendship. Friendship is about your understanding and relationship with other individuals. If you have a healthy idea about your knowledge of self, then you'll also have a respect for other people, things, and other life forms. Service. Each of us has our own purpose for being here on this earth and taking up space and time. Celebration. Celebration is to acknowledge the good in life. The good and bad is all lessons. And when you acknowledge this, you'll never look at the life of anyone else and measure what you do and what you don't do by what you see others doing and living. Prayer and meditation. We're all spiritual beings having a physical experience. The more we become in tune with who we are, the more we can develop the building within ourselves to express that to the outer world and not just benefit our own lives, but acknowledge the oneness of all things in the universe.
Technology has turned the world into a microwave society, where children are taught to seek instant gratification. This is the issue parents face with spoiling their children. These young minds miss the opportunity of the important lesson learned through earning. They grow up to be adults who think there's a problem with struggle and being firm. Since this is so, they don't stand by their ideals. With any little opposition, they fall to pieces because they have no solid foundation in honor and integrity. Honor is to keep an obligation or agreement or the regard with great respect. Notice the words keep, obligation, agreement, all of which implies strength. Integrity means the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles, moral uprightness. In other words, being trustworthy. The stronger you are in being able to stand by what you stand for and represent, the stronger you are to withstand the pressures of life, which many fall to pieces over.
In today's world, no one wants to take the steps to the second floor. If people can backstab, cross one another, that's what they do, and they consider it just a part of life and what they need to do. I remember being a young man and being on parole, and just as vivid as it was yesterday, I had a parole officer that me and him didn't really get along. And one of the reasons why me and him didn't get along was because he was a type of officer who, and the only way you could be in his good grace was if you was telling on other parolees, which a lot of parolees were doing. I didn't play that, So one time he approached me about it, and me and him got into it after that. 2 years later, I would be approached with a similar situation. I would catch a minor drug offense, and I remember the detective telling me in the back room that, it looks like you're making money. Why don't you help us out and we'll help you out? And I told him, it just shocked me that he said that, and I told him, don't get down like that. And he said, what do you think that these other guys do? It don't matter that they're friends with you. How you think we know about you? And at that time, the wheels of my mind started spinning because I realized that honor and integrity is something that most people know nothing about. But that's what I've been grounded in since teen. That's what I've been taught, and that's what I live by. So I wound up doing 2 years, and throughout the whole 2 years, I would say the first 6 months was really hard for me to accept the situation I was in, but more importantly to accept the human condition of how people are. And it's a good thing that it was a little stretch of time because I had time to sit down and talk with myself and really think about my life and the things I wanted to do. And I realized that, there were other options for me. So I decided to change my associations because I realized I didn't have any friends. I had associates. I grew up underneath the principles of do unto others as you would want done to yourself, especially within my circle of friends. But at that point, I realized I needed to change up my type of thinking. Not that I was going to change the type of person I was, but I realized that I needed to change my circumference in regards to the people I deal with. And one of the things I've always strived to do when I deal with people is to encourage them to have honor and integrity and, to respect their word, to respect what they stand for, because that means a lot. That trickles down to how they deal with other people.
Humans must forget what they've been taught in regards to being a citizen, person, and individual. All of these in legal terms implies slave and property. It's in a human's nature to be an expression of truth, freedom, and growth, which is the embodiment of life. Life is the process of evolving. Humans are living and expressing the dream of the universe, and therefore are the dream itself.
The world needs more leaders, but not leaders to oversee people. The world needs more people that know how to lead themselves. Each one of us is a leader because each one of us is responsible for our own lives. Now I'm going to go over some of the qualities of what it takes to become a leader. Commitment. You have to be a person that sets out to do something and completes it. Part of setting out and doing something and completing it is making plans and having the courage, the knowledge and the wisdom and understanding to complete the task. Communication. You have to be a good communicator. Communication involves a sender and a receiver. A lot of times people listen to people and before they even hear what they have to say fully, they're just waiting to respond. Communication is also about speaking to people on their level. If you're speaking to someone that is maybe on a 9th grade level and you're trying to speak to them from a college standpoint, you're not going to get your message across. Integrity. You have to be a person that is strong-willed and has a strong character. Not just to be a leader of other people, but to be a leader of yourself. If you don't have strong integrity, you're not going to follow through on your word or your actions. Honesty. People do not trust someone who's not honest. So it's impossible for you to lead them. In order for people to trust you, they have to be sure and secure in your words and your actions and your ability to show them better than maybe they know or better than they can do. Confidence. In order to be a leader of yourself and other people, you have to have confidence. If you're not sure of yourself, you're not going to be able to do what you need to do for yourself, and you're definitely not going to get others to believe in you. Positive attitude. This is probably one of the most important. A leader is a person that is always looking for options. They don't believe in the word no or can't. In your own personal life, you have to be the type of person that sees the doors where they don't appear. If you go down one road and there's a roadblock in regards to something that you want to do in your life, what do you sit back and say, I can't do this? No, there's a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. And that is one of the most important attributes that all leaders have. It's my belief that every child should be cultivated from as young as possible to develop the skills necessary to be the person that they want to be. All children have an idea of who they want to be, whether it's a doctor, lawyer, a fireman, police officer, or business person. And this revolves around what qualities they see in that person or individual.
The word education, the way it's normally used, is very deceiving in nature. The dictionary term implies it's a process of giving or receiving systematic instruction. Education is basically training. That's what it is. It means the individual has training in a specific field of study. It doesn't mean an individual is smart or wise. The school system should be enlightening people. Within the mind is all the knowledge of the universe. When you enlighten, you bring that which is within outside, which is why identity is so important. Each of us has our own unique purpose, and it's the knowledge we gain about ourselves and the world around us that empowers us to see what it is.
I remember going to school and being taught how to study for homework and do tests. But there were only a few teachers who I felt were really concerned with young people as being developing minds that were going to grow up and go into the world and be leaders. Too many of our young people are just being trained to be workers. It's like they're being trained to be worker bees, to work for the system or people at the top, instead of being trained to be, whatever it is that they choose to be in this world, instead of what society is dictating that they should be, whether it be good job, a nice house, picket fence, children, dog and cat, etc. Anybody who wants more than this is considered to be an outcast, a fighter, somebody that's outside the norm. And this is part of the problem that we see with our young people and our stars and our entertainers or whatever, because they're idolized. And part of that is good for them, the fame, but it's also a problem because they're just people like us. So when they mess up, people are overly concerned with what they do, but they just do the same things that everyone else does.
The potential of humans is limitless. All that you see around you, every invention is the result of the creative mind. With every young person whose potential isn't nurtured, we lose great creations, great thinkers who can empower others and broaden the thinking capacity of the human race, plus make the world a better place for all life forms. We must tear down piece by piece these walls, which were built to make humans participants in their own demise. These systems, the economic, education, political, and law enforcement we see have become problems. When something works, don't fix it. But when something doesn't work, things need to be changed. It all starts with knowledge.
The society, and I think it's the world society, is geared towards teaching people how to be followers. The policies in place are designed to have everyone moving around and acting like worker bees. Malcolm X made a very important point. He said that only a fool allows his enemies to teach his children. What he meant by that was not so much about white or black. What he meant by that is that the policies in place to control society are not thinking about the average person. So wouldn't it make sense that our educational system is not designed to teach our young people to reach their full potential?
The purpose of government is to nurture an environment where people collectively have the power to establish, maintain, and grow sustainable communities, beginning with families. The purpose is not to rule over people. If this was the case, there would be no need for more than one branch of legislative body. The founders of the United States of America agreed that government can be dangerous if not kept in check. This is precisely why they didn't want a king or queen. The people today are needy because they've been dumbed down mentally. It's time to break this cycle by enlightening young people and revamping the social systems globally.
I believe that our educational system is designed so that young people graduate high school and they're only smart enough to push a broom. We have to change this, and this has to start in the home with the parents. They have to start teaching the kids the right knowledge, the right skills, and cultivate them to develop the talents that they possess. Let's stop teaching our young people to be followers and encourage them to be leaders. Because all of us, in one way or another, are leaders. And all of us are responsible for our own lives, no matter what we do. I remember working and being a supervisor, and I used to always tell the workers in my area that some of them would get upset and be like, oh, the company this and the company that. And I used to be like, the company is looking out for their interests. You as an individual need to look out for your best interests because it's your life. And you have to live the best life that you can. And the only way you can do that is by being in a sense of empowerment. If you feel that you're just a worker or you're someone that doesn't matter, then you're not going to live the best quality of life that you can. But when you're empowered to understand that you're a leader and a leader of your own life, you don't have to be a leader of 100, 1,000, 1,000,001 people. Be a leader of yourself. And this is what we need to start teaching our young people.
There's no limit to man's potential. There has been no man who has lived who was so intelligent or spiritual that there hasn't been a man to come after him who is more spiritual or intelligent. You can draw from the knowledge and accomplishments of others to build greater creations and to be of better service. Everything on this planet is living. All of life is connected to one source of energy, and we as outlets represent different degrees of knowledge and understanding. Become empowered. Empower others. Stand truth and square, even in the midst of the enemies of truth.